Hey everyone, and welcome to my Procreate demo for the piece I just called Bangs. So this was a quick one that I wanted to do because the Hakan piece took so long. I've slowed it down a lot because overall this was very fast. So the original drawing was done facing left. After realizing how many of my pieces face left, I just decided to flip it at the end. That's why the beginning and the actual in-process version look different. I also originally did this to record the drawing in Procreate, but for whatever reason that didn't actually export out. Luckily the next two videos it did all export out correctly, so even though you won't get to see it on this one, you'll get to see it on those. Now a lot of these curls that you'll see and the little hair details that I'm putting in, they're all actually done using the roundness of the brush. I lay it down with the hard edge, just sort of circle brush, and then use a hard edge circle eraser to then erase out the inside of it, obviously offset a little bit so that I could end up having those little loops. And then other things are just sort of that same process but with an even thinner cut to get those like really thin hairs that are sticking out there. Once all that hair was layered in, then placed in, I then went and cut it into that shape that you see sort of on the bottom right of her hair. This one was done, all the skin was laid in with a like an airbrush, like a fuzzy brush, and then the only things that I really painted sharply were the hair and then the eyes. Everything else is like kept really soft on purpose because I wanted it to be vague, I wanted it to be soft, and I also wanted the whole thing to go very quickly, so honing in specific shapes wasn't really anything I was looking to do. It's also interesting because I start sort of high and then I add this shadow layer in, and then I add another shadow layer in, and then I add just like a little bit of highlights on it. So I'm actually starting pretty high value than what I normally do. There's not a whole lot to say about the details of this. It's a very straightforward piece. I think that at the end there's a number of effects that might be interesting to reference. Otherwise, though, there's not a lot of intense technique or skills or little tricks in this one. The dark around her eye, I basically did like a light purple and then also a black, and set the light purple to multiply, and then just sort of toyed with those opacities. That's sort of I guess a pseudo interesting aspect of this painting. The eye is also in general pretty desaturated, which is different than what I normally do. I wanted it to really recede. Here's the usual blush tricks, laying in pink and then lowering the opacity. Some of the usual lip stuff, laying in another shade of pink, a little bit more orangey, setting it to multiply, and then doing an add layer on top of it to get those shines. And then I painted a little bit of extra dark detail where the actual opening of the mouth is. You can see the distant hair is blurred a little bit, and I had to turn it off there for a second so I could see what I was painting with the eye and the distance. And then here I'm just putting in some bounce light from the background to sort of set her into her environment. And there I go, flipping it. And I added some blur and a couple of other little texture things. It's a really simple piece, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. If you're looking to catch me at other places, these are the locations where you can do so.